What is going on, everybody? Welcome to The Link. Why? Because it's Tuesday and it's 4:30, and that's what we do at this time on this day. We want to give a shout out to APLA Health and Pyro Media in conjunction with the CDC, who gives us the funds to bring this show to you every week and to do what we do with these beautiful graphics and all of that good stuff. But before we get into all of the good what's poppin' hot topics, baby, we want to introduce ourselves. I am your boy, Daniel J., your favorite, prevention training specialist here at APLA for the Swab and Chill at-home HIV testing initiative. Kai, why don't you introduce yourself with that beautiful face and curls?
Hi. If you might think, oh, Kai's got a new face, because he does. But hi, everyone. I'm Kai Smith. I'm program coordinator for our CDC youth-funded programs. So yeah, that's me.
Ty, introduce your lovely self.
What's up? My name Reggie.
What we're not gonna do. That's right. Remove him.
I always get kicked out. I'm Ty, your outreach coordinator here at our Baldwin Hills location at APLA Health, and I'm so happy to be here. I feel like I just saw you all, but I missed you all.
That's cute. I miss you too.
Yeah. We're right next to each other.
I mean, look, it's live television, so I always feel like we have to be honest. So you might see some things moving and changing and things. We just got a new backdrop, okay? We found out that it was too short to cover the span that we needed to cover. And so we're trying to work some things out on the technical side. Look, because I don't play no games. People's like, why they keep switching the windows and stuff? Because we're trying to figure out what works, okay?
No, we're trying to do a better experience.
What you think, guy?
We're trying to bring everyone else a better experience. Let us do this.
It's about y'all.
We're trying to elevate and we're trying to grow. And my coworker has me in this room where it is 80 degrees and I am having
It was really cold summer. When I got in here.
Oh my God. We went from Antarctica to the Congo. Like, it's
Which place would you rather vacation at, though?
The Maldives. Okay.
What's the temperature like there?
I can't. It's surrounded by water, so it's a little cooler than this.
So it's wet.
We want to get into what's popping. That is our hot topic section of the show, and I want to just start out of the gate. I want to talk about Lil Nas X's SNL performance. Now, we all know that when his single came out, Montero, it threw the internet into a tizzy, okay? Everybody was clutching their pearls. Everybody was gasping for the breath they did not have. Well, honey, he took that, brought a performance to the SNL stage, and I, for one, thought it was absolutely incredible. I thought it was amazing, even all the way down to the ripping of his pants during his pole dancing performance, but his reaction to that was so cute. Did you guys see it? What did you think?
I thought it was probably one of the most adorable things ever. I know that he's trying to present this image of being like super duper sexy, super duper in himself, and I get that. But when he split his pants and his eyes got wide and he looked like, did y'all see that? I was like, oh, I love him. It was a great performance. Both of them were actually really, really good too. I think that Montero was really, really dope, seeing, him with his male backup dancers and the guy walks up and licks his neck. I thought that was so sexy. And he has a new song called Sun Goes Down, and it's about him contemplating suicide in grade school because he was gay. So I thought that SNL was like the perfect platform to do both of those things.
Yeah, I saw it too. I'll leave my own opinions about the dancing itself. But
coming from a professional,
I'm just saying, choreography dancer.
I think it was great. I think that was a really, really great thing, especially on such a large platform. Social media has really blown it up. This is one of the first times we've really seen a queer Black man or a queer Black masculine person really be like that. Like, he was a pop star on stage. He got to have his sexy little backup dancers. It wasn't just him on the stage. Because, sometimes with queer Black men, especially when they are openly queer, they can only be by themselves. They can't really have, like, dancers. Yeah. And he did. And even, like, what the men were wearing with their do-rags and their little butt cutouts in the butt. I was like, this is sexy. This is queer. And this is great. And I think it was a great first step. Even, like you all said, Yai was the dancer's name who licked Lil Nas X. When I saw that, I was like, ooh. He's a little too young for me, both of them. But I was like, oh. I get it.
Yeah, there was an age type of like situation that kind of went on in my mind. Like, let me look up how old this boy is. But okay, he is legal.
I think he's what, 21, 22.
It's a little too loud for me, but
it was funny because when the pants ripped, like my immediate reaction was, I know he ain't got on no underwear.
Not as tight as
So the holding of those pants was so that he wouldn't have a Maxwell moment.
Yeah.
Was it Maxwell or Lenny Kravitz? That
Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz child. No, that was.
So I did see what the dance. So apparently he went on Jimmy Fallon last night to show a clip of the rehearsal. So everyone in the audience got to see his rehearsal before he did it live, and it was a very quick 1-2 swing around the pole, come back, grab the mic. So we didn't miss much. It wasn't like he had this whole like breakdown of him like going to the top, flipping upside down, real P-Valley like.
Although I'm sure he could.
Maybe I thought he's a beginner in his pole work.
I follow him on TikTok, so I mean, we've seen some things on the platform. So what other things are happening in the media, happening in the world that you two would love to talk about? I know that we talked about a few things pre-show. What do y'all got for the
I want to take Kai's. Thank you, Kai. The Billboard Awards. It came on Sunday. Drake was honored as the artist of the decade, which ultimately, whether you like him or not, makes sense because he drops the consistent number ones. And then also there were performances. There was a live audience again for it to be shot at Staples Center here in LA. But what I did notice was there was a movement after the Billboard Awards for Miss Victoria Monet. There was a report came out or something came out where it was like she wasn't even invited to the Billboard stage. Now I know Miss Monet just gave birth. I know she's working on her next album. But Miss Monet has really dropped some music that Billboard has really attained to, whether she's dropped it, written it, whatever the case may be. She's responsible for a lot of the number one hits that we have from Miss Ariana Grande. Say it again.
Basically all of Ariana Grande's album.
All of Ariana Grande's music. She's also written some things with Timbaland that's been sold to certain artists. She's written for Jennifer Hudson. So we have like these accolades under her belt, but she wasn't even invited to the Grammys. What do y'all think about that?
I think for me, the frustration is it's one thing to not invite an artist. And it's like, okay, weird, but I get it. But then some of the people they did invite were some of these like social influencer TikTok people who have no connection to music at all. So why are you invited to the Billboard Music Awards when you've never even like given us something or nothing?
Is TikTok the new Billboard? Because I don't even know how to work TikTok. So to tell me that I have to drop my music on TikTok for me to go number one, I'm already shooting myself in the foot.
Well, I think we're in a time now where, you know, influential people are what's hot, you know, and they're what's hot in a myriad of different ways. I haven't watched a music award show in years, regardless of what it is, whether it be the Billboards, the Grammys, you know, the BET, because when I was younger and I watched these shows, it was an experience of actual music. And now I feel like it's really just you know, who's your favorite? You know, who's popular? Who's in the popular crowd? Who do we want to, you know, spotlight? Who's in the popular crowd? It's a photo op. And so I think that it sucks that certain people, certain artists don't get invited to these award shows, don't get asked to perform, who really have great music that is circulating, you know, the circuits. But I also can see it from a production standpoint. It's like, who's exciting and who's going to make the most buzz? Who's going to get us the most viewers? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. And I guess, like, I completely understand. I think for me, the issue was more so it's an invite. Even if she couldn't go, like, y'all could have sent her an invite. And I know with the Billboard Music Awards, it's a little different because it's about what's, like, selling. It's not so much about, like, the music and art. It's about what has sold. But for me, I was just like, that's a little...
I mean, well, if we think about it too, if we just talk number-wise, all three of her singles from Jaguar charted in the top 10. So I think that it's interesting that she wouldn't get the accolades from that to propel her to the Billboard stage. And then we see The Weeknd, you know, take home 10 Billboard Awards because the Grammys snubbed him. But The Weeknd had a very, very good year. I mean, all of his songs from that album were super duper catchy. They're in-car commercials. Like when you hear it, you're like, oh, this is The Weeknd. I liked The Weeknd back when he first came out, when he was singing about drugs and other stuff. But this new poppy Weeknd, it's interesting. You know, he got his teeth done, which I think look amazing. So, you know, why not? Give him 10 Grammys. I'm sorry, he didn't get those. Give him 10 Billboard Awards.
But now that you talk about that, some people feel like he got so many Billboard Awards because he did not get a Grammy, because he was
going to get those anyway. Those three songs that he had, they played them so much. Save Your Tears, Blinding Lights, Heartless. We've been hearing them for more than a year now. Yeah, I listen to the radio and stuff, so
I
know
don't.
these things.
No. Put me on the Whitney Houston Pandora station. I'm good.
I'm just saying.
You know what?
Kai, come
Blinding lights might actually come on during that shuffle, so be careful.
Probably will.
I have to give a shout out to Miss Lettucey because she was everything that I needed as I caught up on my Pose episodes, and her singing in that church. She was everything that I did not know I needed in that moment.
I'm 2 episodes behind.
I'm gonna need you to catch up. But I do want to switch gears just a little bit to a little bit more serious topic. This week this past weekend, or is it today?
It's today.
It's today. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. And so it has been ringing through all of social media, been ringing through I know my timelines. I've seen all kinds of tributes. And I wanted to spend a little moment just kind of reflecting on that specific death. I mean, as we know that death, it caused a lot of commotion in the world, not just here in America, but literally across the world, different countries, different nations. And as we look back and see that it's only been a year, what are some feelings that you guys are feeling, or what are your thoughts about everything that has occurred within the last year concerning George Floyd?
I think that so a heavy question. It feels like it's been longer than that. I think that it doesn't feel like it happened yesterday. It doesn't feel like it happened last week. It feels like it's been longer than that. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think that us as people of color are kind of getting to the point where, the news is traumatic enough. And George Floyd is a name that we're never going to forget, amongst many names on the list that we're never going to forget. But it feels longer than that. And it feels like I'm not satisfied with what the outcome was. I mean, I get it. I can't even think of the officer's name at this point. He went to jail. He's going to jail. He got, convicted of all 3 charges. But it doesn't stop this from happening again. It doesn't stop the fact that, when George Floyd's name was becoming a household name, Breonna Taylor's murder was still unjustified and still went without repercussion. So I think that if anything, George Floyd serves as a reminder that the work still needs to be done, and not necessarily on our end. I think that people that are not people of color need to watch these things and see these things and realize we're saying these names for a reason. It's not just something that we're saying just because we have nothing else to do. So I'm there with it. I'm not desensitized. I think that sometimes I hear things on the news and I'm still like, I was about to curse. That's a little messed up, or a lot of messed up. But I do think that we need to move past the hashtag phase. I think the hashtag phase is done. Now there needs to be action.
Kai, what about you? What are your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, so like Ty, this feels like when I found out that recognized that today has been the 1-year anniversary, it almost felt like it's only been a year. It feels like this has been something that really, and it could just be because we've heard these stories before, so maybe not everyone else in the world has heard it, but we know these stories growing up as people of color, as Black people, having Black family members. And then especially because of COVID, we were home from start to finish, basically almost for this. For me, the way I'm feeling right now is I'm a little disappointed. And I mean, we all knew this was going to happen. Other big corporate organizations who use George Floyd's name to kind of show that they were anti-racist, silent, right? And then also for me, it's also a little disheartening to see kind of some of the way people are framing it and making George Floyd out to be a martyr. And I think it's not a bad thing, but we need to recognize what a martyr is. A martyr is someone who willingly gives up their life. George Floyd is not a martyr because he didn't want to die. Mm-hmm. And I think when we talk about this, when we talk about the anniversary of his murder, we have to be clear about it. And I think that's what I'm worried about is as time goes on, we change this kind of perspective, because for better or for worse, we need to be honest about what happened with George Floyd. This was a murder in broad daylight in front of dozens of people. And this man did not want to die. So calling him a martyr is a disjustice to kind of the entire situation, to George Floyd. And so for me, that's always been like a little bit of a we need to reevaluate. And it's frustrating that we have to explain to people that no, he didn't willingly give up his life. Like no one is going to willingly give up their life, especially to police violence. So that's where I am. It's a heavy day. It's a heavy day. Changes have been made, but like Ty said, it's not enough, and there's still more that needs to be done. But I will say one positive note is at least we are starting to see. We saw something. It's not covering everything. We still know Breonna Taylor's murderers are still out. There's still everything, and there's so many other police violence cases after that are still not being held accountable. So that's where I'm at. It's a start. I'm definitely using this day to be thankful for my loved ones and making sure I reached out to everyone. But, we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah.
Well, on such a somber note, I think, my feelings are this, and I've said this really since the beginning, after everything, when it happened and the year that we had to traverse in a pandemic. I think that COVID forced people all around America, whether you are of color, whether you're Black specifically, whether you're white, it forced this country to witness the brutality. It forced this country to witness what many of us have already known to be true. People did not have the distraction of their privileges. They didn't have the distraction of their, Bahama trips. They didn't have the distractions of going out and shopping and not being able to, not know. We were all at home. We were all in quarantine, and this had flooded our timelines. And I think that it changed the atmosphere for an entire country, an entire portion of our country, to no longer be able to say, I don't see that happening. The I didn't know excuse is no longer valid.
Yeah.
You know that it might have been the first one you have witnessed, but this death and this murder gave validity to so many other events like this one that we in the Black community, in communities of color, have been witnessing, unfortunately, probably most of our lives. What I will say is I agree, George Floyd was not a martyr, is not a martyr, should not be called a martyr. And though we publicized George Floyd's death, and it was such a large part of the media, we cannot allow for that to then make us forget or allow us to forget there are a lot of other names on that list.
So many.
There are a lot of other names on that list. And there are names on that list that are Black women, Black men, Black children. There are names on that list that are intersectioned into the LGBTQIA plus community, are trans women that have been murdered. There are so many names on the list of people that have been murdered in the way that George Floyd was murdered. And so I pray that as the year pushes forward, even with the verdict of the trial, I just pray that we find more people being held accountable and being brought to justice for their actions, and my prayers for peace definitely still go out to the families who are suffering losses like George Floyd's. So I think it's a day to remember, it's a day to reflect, and definitely a day to remind us that there's still a lot more work to do. So let's take a moment, reset, because that was heavy.
Yeah.
But we are going to move into our main topic. Now, last week, honey, we talked about a lot as it pertains to the porn industry. And of course, our wonderful co-host, Mr. Ty, was critical in bringing that to light and leading that conversation. And today, we're going to kind of go into a part two. It's Freak Twitters and OnlyFans. Too much or not enough? And we're talking about pornography, sex, as it pertains to social media. Okay, and one of the things that I want to talk about is how much sexual content do you prefer on your social media? I know that everything that we see has been sexualized. Sex is just out there. I mean, you can say things on television now that you just couldn't say just 10 years ago. You can show things on television that you couldn't show just 10 years ago. So that's my question to the both of you, whichever one who wants to go. Like, how much do you want to see in your media, being that sex is so easily accessible?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, Kai.
Okay. So I don't mind.
What about that look, Ty? What's that look?
I don't mind it. I don't think, for me, I hate saying this, I'm super sex positive, but for me, I don't mind it. I think where for me the issue is I can't because of the way, you know, our society is set up right now, I can't just open up my social media, like my Twitter. I can't open that in public because I know not everyone's looking to see what is going to happen on my Twitter. But for me, I don't mind it. I think there's so many different ways to, it doesn't have to be just like straight up penetration porn. Even like some of these pictures, like I know I'm one, like I love a nice little sexy photo shoot, put me in some lingerie, make me look cute. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have done that because I'm like, oh my God, this is too racy. I can't do this. What? But now I'm like, yes, let me show it, because there's a comfort, and there's, I think, too, working in this business industry, not even industry, in this field, sex, if we don't normalize it, is always going to be a topic. So then when we need to get serious about it with sexual health, we can't, because we can't even talk about the fun stuff. We can't talk and be open about the fun stuff. How can we talk about the things that aren't as exciting? So never enough. Never too much, never too much.
Come on, Luther. Come on, bring us with the Luther. Ty, what do you feel? Do you feel, how much sexual content do you want and or need on your social media?
I want all of it.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I love where we are now with people being as sexually open and as sexually liberating with their posts. My Instagram is full of butts. My Twitter is full of porn. I just think ultimately, like, it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not. I get censorship and I get, you know, parental controls and stuff like that. But as an adult, like, for me, it's not overwhelming. I've had conversations with people where it's like, you know, oh, there's too much sex. Everything is sex, you know, driven. And I'll tell you from experience, because I do music similar to Daniel. It's not similar to Daniel's, but just like Daniel does. And I can't sell a single without showing some booty. So it's kind of like, you know, I get what it is. I understand. And like, I don't mind taking this little thong pic and posting it before I promote a single. But it's like, you know, people,
I can't do that.
Well, people want to see something that is like, you know, for some of us, people want to see something that's like visually stimulating when they don't expect something from you. Daniel is a raw talent. So if Daniel's not out there shaking it in the G-string, that single's still going to sell. I'm just rapping because that's what all the IG boys do. And it's like, you know, I got to show a little thigh before I put a song out. But to answer your question, I'm all for it.
See, so I am not a prude by far.
No,
okay, and I'm pause. So, get it together.
She absolutely is.
So I'm not a prude by far. My Twitter has increasingly gotten more sexual because of the people that I follow.
Okay,
and I follow them because primarily they are people of color. They are, you know, Black men and women, brown men and women that I just, you know, I want to support what they do. If they're doing it and they're being safe about it and they're being conscious about it and they're making money, I want to support that. But I also feel like I don't need you to repost the same scene 20 different times on my Twitter.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like, I love you, Yardy, but boo, the same one. You know, Fat Rabbit Killer, the same one.
That's part of the marketing.
Child, I have to take off the notification because I was just like, yeah, no, I can't. This is too much.
But would you agree with Kai that, you know, with it being so dominant in entertainment and at our leisure, it is creating a concept that talking about this, like the platform that we're on right now and having this conversation, is making it a lot easier and less taboo?
I can't really say that, and here's why. I feel like with every topic when it comes to sex, I think that there are tiers. And we're still in a tier where sex for men, regardless of orientation or sexual identity, it's much more acceptable. So we have a lot of men showing their penises all over our timeline. We're cool with that. But as women do it, then there's this issue. If a trans person does it, there's this issue. And so although I don't mind it, I am a very open person. You know, we talk about sex all day here at the job. I talk about sex very freely in my personal life, just because I grew up in a very, you know, boundaried environment where we did not talk about that. You know, my mother will be 73 in literally less than 24 hours. You know, so she comes from a generation that we didn't talk about that. Like, if I came out of the shower, you make sure that towel is wrapped up. I won't see nothing. You know, so to grow into this space where I'm freely open to talk about it, it's kind of amazing. But at the same time, I think that there is a duplicitous act as it pertains to sex and social media. I think that men get away with a whole lot more than any other community, regardless of their race.
Cisgender
Cisgender men. I mean, cisgender men. Cisgender men get away with way more than any other community when it comes to sex.
I'll agree with that.
And I think
And
that's
white women in porn. Like, I feel like white women are glorified
more
than any other community when it comes to that.
And I think that all has, like I was saying, dealing with just slut shaming, right? We like to control women's or feminine bodies for some reason because masculine people believe that they have a right to, and they don't. And for me, what I appreciate, because like you, Daniel, I follow men, I follow women. I love seeing when I get like a sexual, like feminine post. I'm like, yes, girl, you do that. You do that. Like,
yes, enjoy it.
Because it is. And I also think this is like one of those, like at home by myself, I've already had like 2 glasses of wine. I'm talking to my partner, Eric, about like whatever's on my mind. We're in this new sexual revolution. And I think it happens like, think of it like the Renaissance.
Okay. They wanted to be a part.
Fast and the Furious over here, y'all.
Is it Vin Diesel?
Probably not. But we're like, I'm thinking, the way I think of it is like, after the Black Plague, we saw this new renaissance. So we saw an expansion of art. We saw expansion of like body, like images. You know, we see all the Italian Renaissance, everyone's nude. I think we're kind of in that right now. So you're seeing a lot more sex positive, but I will say something I've been thinking about is we don't talk about sex. We talk about sexuality. We talk about being sexy, but we don't talk about the acts of sex. We talk about, you know, getting off, but we don't talk about how you got off, kind of thing like that. So I think that's a lot of the issues that we see, especially because we want to talk about women being sexy, but they can't actually do anything about it. So, yeah.
Here's the thing. This is what I love, and most people might not expect this. So I love to see sex positivity as it pertains to full-figured women, as well as full-figured men. And there is an OnlyFans personality by the name of Dionysus on Twitter, and he is a full-figured, fluffy Black man, and I enjoy it. And not because I have any sort of like fetish for it or anything, but because I enjoy seeing natural bodies being made to look beautiful and being normalized, that you are beautiful in the skin that you're in, that you don't have to be, you know, a Kim Kardashian or a Kylie Jenner. Like, you don't have to be that to be considered sexy. Agreed. And so I just be like, when I see a full-figured woman in lingerie and she be posing all and the rolls and everything just be sitting where they need to be, oh, that just, it flutters my heart in a good space. It flutters my heart in a good space.
I think that's a valid point too. You know, people that are not what I guess the norm,
the ideal.
Yeah, the ideal.
Because it's not so much norm. Like my body is normal.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I hate when people say the norm. No, it's the ideal.
The ideal. I guess it's interesting to see the ideal with people who are not the ideal candidate doing this stuff and living in their sexy, their sexuality, their essence. I think that's
essence.
It's awe inspiring. I love it. I follow all kinds of people from beginning to end as it pertains to body types, nationalities, sexual orientations, just because, you know, if you're gonna go on Twitter, you're gonna show it. I want to see it. So
do it. And Daniel, with your point too, also age. I've been seeing a lot more older people being openly sexual, and I love that. Like everyone's saying, this idea on sex is when we grew up. A lot of us, the only time we saw sex was when it was super attractive, super young, or like young-ish. I mean, it was that's what we thought. So even who we thought was having sex. So then all of a sudden someone gets 50 and like, oh, they're not having sex back unless it's Stella got her groove back. That was the only real.
No, Kai, they're having sex. They're just having sex with me.
Oh, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If you're out there and you're older, hey. But yeah, so I like that too. Is we can see real people doing real things, and that's what I think. Why I enjoy it, and why I think on social media is never too much. I do think, obviously, and we kind of Kai. Wow, I called you me.
Ty. It's okay, we do that.
The Bobsy twins.
The like parental controls. Obviously, there's an age thing. You know, we want to have these conversations with people who are younger. But if you're 18, maybe even 21, because I have an issue with OnlyFans being 18 and up, I still think that might be a little young.
I still think that's kind of a little murky too.
But if you're
a guideline, so I'm like,
I'm like, if they're old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes and smoke away their life. They are old enough for OnlyFans.
Well, we don't want them to do that either.
We don't want them to do that, but I'm saying, I think that when we talk about age and how young or how old, like it really gets into, you know, I feel like it kind of.
I want you to be able to buy a drink before you.
For me, I just think of the idea of you can be 18 and still be in high school, which is what I consider a child. You turning 17 to 18, that 1 minute difference does not make you an adult. There's still a lot of processing that still needs to happen. An 18-year-old, I don't care like what anyone says. For me, I didn't become an adult easily until I was like 25, 26. I was still a kid. And that's for me, that's what it is. So when you see people like they just turned 18, all of a sudden they have an OnlyFans, all of a sudden their OnlyFans is blowing up. My first thought goes to, were we sexualizing someone who was under the age of 18? Like, can we have that conversation?
I agree with that. And then also,
my question is, where the hell, if you are 18, what the hell are you filming OnlyFans? Because you probably still live with your mama.
At your house. And Kwame wrote, but you can be 18 to defend the country
Hello.
by joining the military. How is that?
So, yeah.
Kai, if you don't mind,
Go for
I'm
it.
going to share my 2 cents on that as well. I think that the way that that's been set up military-wise is that everyone's been encouraged to defend their country, and they make it like, you know, this is an honor. So at 18, you should be able to decide whether or not you want to defend your country. I think as it pertains to showing your body, having sex, or doing anything for the masses to see, there's not enough life. At least with the military, you're going in and you're learning basic skills that'll help you in combat, that'll help you just in different aspects of life. With porn or posting, you know, having on OnlyFans and doing things on OnlyFans, you're not really learning anything in that moment. But the fact that, you know, at this time at 18, I want to do and post X, Y, and Z. It's not enough life for you to make that decision that's ultimately going to affect the rest of your life, regardless of how this sexual renaissance that we're in goes. I mean, the military is just a little bit different as to what it provides you mentally during their training. There's no training for OnlyFans. You sign up and then that's it. Believe me, I know.
Yeah. And also I think because we with 18-year-olds, we always get the barely legal. That's not attractive.
Yeah, I skip over those. I don't want anything that's barely legal. Like, no.
You're flirting around with that. I'm like, okay, there's something. This feels uncomfortable.
It's a fetish. It's a fetish that people look. It generates, actually, if you look at it, it generates a lot of money because there are a lot of people that secretly fetishize children. There are a lot of people that secretly fetishize teenagers.
Kai's whole face.
It's like, the truth. Am I lying? It's
no,
the truth.
because people have definitely hit on me because they're like, how old are you? Like 18, 17?
So they
and
put
then
it
they
on
like,
you, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. I've had people message me on social media asking me to lie about my age to fill their sexual fantasy. I'm like, blocked.
Well, first of all, if you have a sexual fantasy about having anybody under any legal age, that's a pedophile to me. Period. Point blank. Like I can't. There's nothing about a kid. Like I'm not looking at a 16-year-old going like, oh yeah, that 16-year-old. Like nothing about that is attractive to me. So if you, and yes, I'm judging, if you or someone you know has a young fetish where they enjoy sexual relations with teens, please call your local police department.
Please. Yes. You are a mandated
reporter.
Please, yes. Absolutely. Get that child out of that.
We're going to continue this conversation when we get back. It's time for our commercial break. So when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about, do you guys believe that we should have multiple social media accounts if we're engaging in sexual activities? And I also want to talk about how has the sexual renaissance, as Ty put it.
Kai.
You said...
Kai said it first. I just took
it. It's okay. No, one of us.
Sexual renaissance, how has it affected the way that we interact and connect on other levels? So all of that when we come back right after this commercial break.
Don't move. Hey guys, Ty here from APLA Health, and I got some good news for you.
APLA Health is launching our first ever at-home HIV testing initiative.
As we battle the global pandemic of COVID-19 and all that it entails, APLA Health is doing what we can to fill the gaps for those who are in need of knowing their status, linking to care, and having safer sex options.
The initiative, officially known as Swab and Chill, will be our virtual hub for those seeking to take an HIV test, receive HIV kits, link into medical care for those who are HIV positive, while also having access to several other programs and services that specialize in harm reduction for HIV infection.
Such services include PrEP and PEP information, as well as substance abuse services. Our goal with Swab and Chill is to make HIV testing easily accessible and easy to use within the comfort of your own home.
We provide each client with the Aura Quick at-home testing kit. This kit is a simple test that is done by orally swabbing the gums and waiting 20 minutes for your results.
APLA staff is available to virtually assist you while taking the test, while providing resources and support for those who may test positive.
Maybe you already know your status and you're just low on condoms and lube due to accessibility. No problem. We can also send you one of our safer sex kits right to your front door.
As we strive to keep our community safer and well-informed, your privacy is also a high priority.
All packaging will appear from APLA Health. Our over-the-phone assessments are quick, easy, and secure, so you can feel safe in sharing your results with us and asking any questions that you may have.
If you or someone that you know is interested in having one of our at-home test kits mailed to you, or you just want more information on what Swab and Chill can provide, please call one of our team members at 323-329-9713, or just email us.
Come swab and chill with 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 us. Welcome back. Yes, for all of the wonderful graphics, you are here on the link with your favorite people, Kai, Ty, and myself, Daniel J. And we're talking about freak Twitters and OnlyFans. Honey, is it too much or is it not enough? And I want to get into part 2 of the conversation. And I want to kick this off. In our last segment, we kind of finished with, how much of it do we want on our social media? We went into a little bit of a conversation regarding, how young should or old should you be before you start engaging in things like OnlyFans. But I want to ask the question in regards to the accounts. Like, I know people who have like their family PG account, and then they have the freak Twitter. They have the sneaky link. I don't have the wherewithal to manage that many social media. So I tend to take on the feeling like whatever I do on my social media is what the hell I want to do. And if you don't like it, you can leave. But have y'all had multiple accounts? What do you think about that? Like, could you do it? Do you do it? Have you done it?
So I saw Kai looking like that. So no, I've never attempted to have the double accounts. I know that. Okay, so when you post a specific kind of content, the first thing that you are going to think, or at least the first thing that I thought was, what if my mom sees this? What if my grandmother sees this, right? What if my brother sees this? And I eliminated that by blocking them. So it was kind of like, I don't really have to do much to maintain this. I think that, I know people that have like, your standard Twitter and then your freak Twitter. And then like, I know people that have like your standard Instagram and then your freak Instagram. The thing is, people always find them. regardless of whether you posted your own picture or not, regardless of whether you're making, anonymous tweets, at some point, somebody is going to find out who you are and other people are going to find out who you are. It just never fails. Even when you make a connection on Twitter, it's kind of like, oh, well, who are you really? You show that picture, and then it shows up later somewhere else, whether it be like Tumblr, Twitter, no matter what, you will always get comfortable with the community that's on Twitter and then wind up being brought up later as it pertains to your free Twitter. So I don't do it. I don't separate the two. My mom's blocked on everything. And she knows that she is. Hey mom, I know she's probably watching. Hey mom, so she knows that she is, but this is a conversation that me and her had together. I was like, hey, because she's like, I want to follow you on Instagram. And I was like, no, you don't. And she was like, yeah, I do. Your brother follows you on Instagram. I want to see the Mother's Day post that you did for me. So I screenshotted the Mother's Day post and I sent it to her. And she's like, well, I can't locate your Instagram. I'm looking up that name because you're blocked. So you don't need to see these.
See, my mama is not getting on Twitter or Instagram. Like, it's a tussle just trying to get her to learn FaceTime on the new
that must be nice because
MacBook Air she just purchased.
Are 15 years apart, so she's all about the Instagram.
See, I can't do the double account thing. Like, I really can't. Although I'm very, like, specifically on Twitter, because, like I said, Twitter got that little feature where you can look at people's likes and replies. So I have to be very cautious about what I like sometimes, because I'm like, oh, Jesus, if certain people in my following see that I'm liking certain things, I might have to hear about this, that, and the other. And I don't be really feeling like that.
Girl.
But Kai, what about you? Have you done double account? Could you do a double account? Is it just not for you? They just gonna get what they get?
So I'm lucky in that I don't have a large social media following. So what I do, 5 people are gonna see. So I'm okay with that. I've thought about doing like a different like Instagram or a different like Twitter just to like separate it, because there are some times where I get on Twitter, I'm like, I just want to look at art. I just want to look at anime. And all I'm getting is like dick ass and like just all of that. So, like, this isn't why I came here today.
In that order.
In that order. And it's usually like at the same time, it's the same video 5 times. So I get it. For me, where I think what happened is you see people who accidentally post things on their normal Twitter that wasn't made for their normal Twitter. And I'm not trying to have that. I'm on like 4 different accounts for work. I don't want to be scrolling through trying to go into my private Instagram. And next thing you know, boom, it's on the Healthy Him page. I don't need that. I like my job. But for someone else, I get it, especially for people who are trying to, express themselves like sexually, but then they are, a teacher. Because I remember one time when I was a teacher, I did get in trouble about my social media presence being overtly sexual because I had a shirt or a picture without a shirt on. I was like, I don't have a shirt on. That's not sexual. But things like that happen. I've seen like someone that I follow, because I follow like both of their Twitters. I follow their design Twitter for like their clothes, and then their personal like Twitter where their OnlyFans is, and it's night and day. So sometimes I get that. If you're trying to sell a product that isn't sex, maybe the sex might not help. And you might be afraid to scare people away. Not for me. I don't have the following, so I don't have to worry about it. So if
I have the following, I don't care. Okay.
Well, let's be honest. Your following is borderline that. Like, they're looking at your social media because you borderline have that content.
But also, like, what I do in my professional life kind of falls into that. So it kind of all just goes hand in hand. Like, when people see the sexy images, the sexy persona, it's like I can still talk to you about safe sex and protecting yourself. So I found a way to kind of tie those things into each other. But Daniel's absolutely correct. That is the audience that follows me.
Well, I know the answer for Kai already, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I want to discuss this topic. With it being so oversaturated, okay, with it being everywhere, so easily accessible, there are all kinds of different sites and links that you can create one on. You got OnlyFans, you got Sneaky Links, you got 4Fans. Would you consider creating an OnlyFans account? And if you have created one, what was the reason behind it? Kai, let's start with you.
Please.
So I would totally create an OnlyFans account, but some things have to happen beforehand. For me, also, I just know that's hard. And I wouldn't give good quality content because after like the second video, I'm like, ugh, don't want to do this anymore. I can't commit to that. Y'all
There's
want
a
more?
consistency
You got
factor.
one.
Yeah.
Like, pay me. I give you one video. Give me money. So I don't think my business model would work. So that's kind of what's keeping me from OnlyFans. And then I also think I don't like taking my picture just in general. So then you're telling me, oh, now you have to be kind of in this really vulnerable position of trying to be sexy. And that's just not where I'm at in my life right now. But if you have my nudes and for some reason you leak them, one, I'm going to sue you. Because I know who all has my nudes. But then I will create an OnlyFans account. But those things must happen first.
Child, I wish I knew all the people who have my news. That's a number I cannot count. I mean, that's a number I cannot count. Woo. Oh my goodness. And someone actually just tried to like threaten me with revenge porn. I was like, really?
Like that's a thing?
That really? I can't. So Ty, would you consider creating an OnlyFans?
I don't have to consider anything. Been there, done that. Okay. We are on the link. We talking about it. So let's talk about it. I initially created the account though to follow accounts. I thought that subscribing, you could just do it without an account, but they required you to actually sign up. Then like my name was like UL18567. I was like, that's not cute. So then I wound up customizing the name. Then I was like, oh, but I don't want them to think that like, a creep's following them. So I wound up uploading a picture. Then I was like, but they should know about me. I made a bio. Then after that, I was like, I'm in this. So
into it.
The bio did it.
The bio did it.
Once I got a bio, I'm committed.
So what happens with that to me is, and I agree 100% with Kai said, it's a consistency factor. Like you have to consistently get into that mood of taking pictures, uploading those pictures, and then just dealing with whatever the comments are that come with those photos. I will say, I don't regret being on it and making it because it's been very fruitful as far as money wise. But I am very strategic at what I do on it. You will never see me have sex. There's never, a partner in those videos or whatever the case may be. Because I think that some things should remain intimate. But I'm cool with being open about it because ultimately at the end of the day, there's no reason to be like, icky, or like iffy, like, oh my God, yeah, I did that once. And oh my God, like I'm cool with it because like my Instagram is like Daniel said, border that. So at least let me get paid from it,
Okay, so here's the thing. I would consider doing an OnlyFans.
Do you have one?
I do not.
Oh, okay. That's surprising for you.
And here's the thing, when and I could be wrong, but when I did my research about OnlyFans really was supposed to be a catch-all for whatever it was that you did. Like if you were a singer, if you were a chef, if you were a personality, you could create an OnlyFans and generate money.
I do
doing what you love.
I do those things,
but you do them in lingerie.
I do it naked.
Got it.
Yeah.
So the fact that OnlyFans has really morphed into the new Pornhub or the new XTube was really shocking for me. Number one, but I would consider creating one. I would not have sex on it. It would probably be a lot of like photos or really like sexy, tasteful like videos of me doing something in like really cute lingerie. Because in my heart, in another body, in another life, I would have been a pinup girl.
So I'm so happy that you said that.
I would beat my face, do my hair, put some heels on some stockings, and pose for
I'm
people.
so happy that you said that because growing up, I used to sneak and look at Playboys. So going into OnlyFans, like I said, no videos of me having sex. That was the idea. I wanted to create a space where I could be as sexy and pinup as I wanted to be without it being on Instagram where people were just like, oh, let me just access this photo, let you get, reported for because it's too risque. So I'm glad that you brought that up. That's a good point.
Risque.
Well, I definitely want to sneak this in here because we are 10 minutes out from ending our show, and I want to do this segment. For those who have OnlyFans, now all of us here on this panel may not have one.
Mm-hmm. I just told them the truth.
May not have one, but we've seen them. We know that they're out there. We've seen the good ones. We've seen the trashy ones. I want to know collectively the top 5 things not to do. If you have an OnlyFans.
Want me to start?
You start. Go ahead, Ty.
Okay, number 1.
Speaking from experience.
Speaking from experience. I'll do the top 5 things that I want to do.
Okay.
Number one, I can't have sex on camera. That's an art. And I make like the ugliest faces ever, so you don't want to see that anyway. 2, do not put too much personal information on your OnlyFans. You don't have to link your OnlyFans to everything that you do. I saw a LinkedIn account on someone's OnlyFans.
Oh, okay.
Like, get it.
I want to get a job too.
I was like, okay, but you don't have to do that. You
don't have to.
Separate, right? 3, do not feel pressured to continuously put out content. Only do it when you feel like it. Only do it when you take a picture and you're like, oh, this is sexy. 4, have consent with yourself. I think that we don't talk about self-consent enough. So often we do things that we urge to do because it's like, oh, well, let me just put it out there, turn my phone over. The fact that you're doing that means that you're uncomfortable with it. You don't know what the response is going to be. So have a conversation with yourself. Like, once this get out, am I okay with my mom seeing this? Am I okay with, my employer seeing this? I don't care. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, not in a bad way, but it's kind of like I posted it for a reason. And then number 5, have fun. Have fun with it. Share your account with people that you talk to on a daily basis about things that you're promoting in general on OnlyFans. It makes the conversation more relevant. And then also get your coin. Make your money. No free memberships.
Kai, what are your top 5 things not to do on OnlyFans?
So not to do on OnlyFans. So this is for people who are not putting out content. But when you're on OnlyFans, don't go on someone's page to talk bad about them. 1, you pay money to go talk bad about someone. Come on, don't do that. 2, if you see this person out in public, that does not mean you have a right to go up to them and say, hey, let's make a video. Don't do that. Just don't do that. I don't know why I think that's a good idea ever. So don't do that. 3, for people who are recording. And I think OnlyFans is kind of changing it from what I've seen on Twitter. If you're bringing someone out on camera, make sure they know they're on camera. Like, make sure they're aware that this is going, because sometimes people are like, oh, this is an old video from blah, blah, blah time frame. And like, does that person in that video know that they're on your OnlyFans now?
And make sure everybody's of legal age in that video.
That part. And that goes to like, because I know a lot of times with OnlyFans, we like to create fantasy with porns. And this might be a me thing. I don't want to see you with your fantasy, like, had sex with my cousin, had sex with my stepbrother, had sex with my dad, my stepdad, or barely legal. It feels to me like that's walking a really weird line. And I know in the queer community right now, we're seeing a lot of that. But you don't have to do that for your OnlyFans. Like, you can just say, I met this stranger on Grindr and we had sex. Just as sexy. It is just as sexy than my stepdad came over for the weekend. Don't do that.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that was like 5.
All right, my top 5 things not to do on OnlyFans, and I'm going to be petty with it. Do not get on camera and you ashy, honey. Lotion, butter that body, get you some honey. Make sure that your skin is together. Okay? We don't need no ashiness nowhere. Number 2, whatever clothing you are going to have on in your OnlyFans, make sure it's not holy. Okay, make sure it's tasteful. If it's gonna have holes, make sure the holes should be there in the places that they need to be there. We don't want to see the elastic shot in your panties and you on OnlyFans. That's not cute. No. Number 3, make sure your background is together. Elevate your production quality. Okay, don't be sitting up there with the garbage bag behind you that's full of stuff because you forgot to take out the trash.
Clean that room.
Clean that room. Number 4, child, make sure that you are home by yourself and your children are not just going to bust in the middle of your OnlyFans and get you all in trouble, okay? Because, yeah, I've seen it. And number 5, do your research. Just because it's easy to access and easy to create, we are in a streaming world and there are laws that you now have to follow and be aware of when you are on streaming platforms, when you're doing any type of digital media. And many people don't know that. They think I can just get an OnlyFans and do what I want to do. But you need to check with your state.
Can we do a number 6?
What's the number 6?
Number 6.
Number 6.
Come on, shout out to the Get Right.
Yeah.
If you are recording with others, please take care of your sexual health, regardless. First and foremost, get tested for everything. If you are HIV positive recording, take your meds. If you don't know your status, find out your status. definitely make sure that you are putting yourself in a predicament where, at least if you're going to look back on these videos, you know that you were taking care of yourself during the process of it. So often people are so in a rush to create content. Ask of your partners for their results. That be open, honest, and intentional about what you are doing, who you are doing it with, and why you are doing it.
And if you need a kit that takes 20 minutes to get your results, honey, you can call us at Swab and Chill, and we can send you some. So if you know that you're about to have a partner, if you need to be tested, let us know. Now, we will call you and do a follow-up because we need those results.
Yes.
But
so don't be filming while we call you for that follow-up.
Period.
Maybe do it.
But I want to thank you guys for having this conversation, for delving into the conversation as it pertains to sexuality, sex, and social media. As we end out this episode, let's give our final thoughts about all of it. Ty, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Do what makes you happy, and always make sure that what's making you happy keeps you healthy.
Honey, this promotion has given you just a wisdom that I have not often.
Like what?
I'm like
Yes.
dad.
I love it. Kai, what are your final thoughts?
For me, is sex shouldn't be shameful, and I think we've grown up and we're in this society and we've been taught that sex is something that's supposed to be private, and it's not. It's celebration of who we are. We're all here because of sex.
Legal.
So why do we need to like hide it? I mean, there's definitely things like we should make sure if we are posting things, make sure that we're not violating anybody's rights and things like that. But have fun. Post what you want. You live with it. So if you're okay with your mom or anyone else seeing what you're doing online, who cares? Who cares? As long as you're not hurting anybody, breaking any laws, or like Tyson, being unhealthy, do it. Have fun.
And my final thoughts are simply this. I wish and hope and pray that we all get to a space where if it's not for us, it's just not for us. But the judgment and the vitriol spewed to others who it is for can cease. And I hope every day that I'm working to be a better person and to be the type of person that can say, you know what, that's cool for you, not for me, no judgment, boom, and we can still go get coffee. So as it's been already iterated, make sure that you are being safe, make sure that you are being aware and conscious. And also as it pertains to your sexual health, it's your sexual health. So that means it's your responsibility. Don't entrust your sexual health to somebody else if you're not going to entrust it with yourself. So know yourself, take care of yourself, and be healthy. With that, we will be back next Tuesday at 4:30 for another episode of The Link. So make sure that you tune in. If you're not following our social media, please follow us on Facebook at the APLA Health Prevention Department page. And you can also follow Healthy Him on Instagram. Once again,
Not Twitter.
Look. Once again, this show has been brought to you by APLA Health and Pyro Media, and definitely the CDC that keeps us funded and able to do this. Until next week, we are your co-hosts. We love y'all. Bye.
I want a pink background next time.
I can't.
Come on, Pete.
Ah.